We began as a small company of people who sought to enjoy the freedoms and the fellowship of a Unitarian church here in Wellesley Hills. Having heard that the Reverend Vorse, who was serving the Needham Church, might be persuaded come and spend his Sunday afternoons leading worship for us. So we rode over to Needham one Sunday afternoon, met him after the service, and invited him over to meet us and let us tell him our story. So we did. We went over and we brought him back week after week after week after week. And we realized that he was exactly what we wanted. He was a father, a brother, a preacher, and a pastor. It's possible that without him modeling what life could and should be like within a Unitarian church, it's possible that without him doing that, we would be unable to stay together or become the church that we eventually became. Nor would we have earned the reputation that he brought and held us to, and with which he held us together. When Pastor Vorse died, we mourned his loss deeply. When we got ourselves together and called John Snyder, our second minister, he was unfortunately a poor fit for our congregation. We worked hard to help him understand us and our congregation and our community. But the mutual understanding that we sought and really hoped for did not develop. And our second minister left us wondering if we had failed ourselves and the memory of Reverend Vorse. Our third minister, William Ramsey, reassured us and showed us that we had learned something about ministers and their ways and about our ways with ministers as well. The church began to grow and grow, and seeing ourselves through the eyes of our newest members, we began to open our community up by being more welcoming to the world outside of Wellesley or Wellesley Hills. Charles Potter, who was our next minister, our fourth minister, built up a youth group and held the congregation together during the time of the Spanish flu. We took him for granted, however, and assuming that because he was young, he would stay there for a long time. He left after 2 years. In 1924, the church had experienced a 100% growth and a church school enrollment of 250 children. But the congregation met regularly, thoroughly enjoyed our minister, but one Sunday afternoon, after just about everyone had gone home, there was a fire that started in the rear of the church and damaged much of the sanctuary. The congregation met and decided that they wanted to rebuild, pretty much in its old form, the church that was largely destroyed. And by the following Easter Sunday, they had rebuilt the old sanctuary. Fortunately, the new minister, who was Walter Samuel Swisher, was a professional organist as well as a skilled parish minister. He directed the building of the newer organ and, incidentally, taught Chandler Gregg, who directed the choir and the music program for many, many years. The next minister was named James Luther Adams. He proved to be well-liked, a prodigious scholar, and a very hard worker. However, after 2 years, he left to join the theological faculties at the University of Chicago. Winslow Sharp, who came next, was a preacher, a pastor, and an activist. In the early days of the Nazi rise to power. In those early days, he earned a headline in the Boston Globe, which read, "Unitarian Minister Declares War on Hitler." Shortly after, Winslow Sharp and Martha Sharp were called to Wellesley, and not too far away from that, they were sent to Europe by the American Unitarian Association to go to Czechoslovakia and to help resettle Czech refugees. Members of the congregation cared for their 2 young children. Like every congregation, there were with us, and always have been with us, many members who have kept us going through the work of their hands and their spirits, and by the many quiet ways in which they could be counted upon over and over again in good times and bad. It is a miracle of the Free Church that the people we can always depend upon are usually available to us when we really need them. The Free Church is a gift. Really, it's a blessing that we give to each other. Our closing benediction, since we have been talking about earlier years than this, reflects a benediction that was given by a Unitarian minister of some distinction as he grew up. It was written by Charles Foreman, and it reflects the times and the spirit that we give to each other. May God bless you and keep you. May God keep all of those whom you love, whether here or in some other place. May God be your companion, and you be God's friend, as you walk together through all of the days of your life. And at the journey's end, may you find the welcome of God's love. It keeps us all.